Marina Rodriguez, a fellow Brazilian fighter, a Brazilian fighter knocked out her fellow Brazilian opponent, Amanda Ribas.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people were expecting Amanda Ribas, you know, to absolutely overwhelm her because she was a very large favorite for this fight. They expected her to submit her very quickly.
330 favorite, yeah.
Yeah, so I think for us that worked out to you wouldn't, if you bet $100 on Ribas, you probably got $20 profit.
Yeah.
If you bet $100 on Rodriguez, you would make probably about $400.
Yeah.
Like that's an insane profit. I think on DraftKings it was even more. It was like $800 or something like that. So that's mad.
Yeah.
Marina Rodriguez, just very surprising by the striking.
Yeah.
Very, very surprised. Very, very surprised by the striking. I just felt like it was very clean. It was very sharp striking. It was just too much for Ribas, and it was weird with the stoppage. The stoppage was weird.
Yeah, I want to talk about that stoppage, by the way.
I think Herb was wrong with that.
Yeah,
I think Herb should have stopped it right away.
Yeah. I feel like because Rodriguez walked away and she was screaming like, yeah, she thought she won. And I thought, I felt like first of all, Herb Dean's had a bit of weird stoppages on this card. Yeah. Come on, Herb.
It seems lately this starts to have a little bit more weird stoppages lately. It looked like Ribas was out.
Yeah.
She was rocked. Then, she's trying to go for a single leg. It's not working. Marina hitting her, and then she kind of like quite easily gets out of the single leg and just walks away. She thinks she's won the fight because Herb's actually walked in and he looks like he's waved off the fight, and we were like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But he didn't wave off the fight, and then Ribas gets up and she's not even looking at the ref. She looks straight and she's like, please, no, don't stop the fight.
Yeah.
They start again. She's still clearly rocked.
Yeah.
And Marina just puts the absolute pace on her and then
cracked her again, and she's just like eyes rolling, standing back and forth. But here's the thing, though. I mean, you got to give respect. Fighters who get rocked and stay on their feet, I don't know how you do it.
Just fighters. Just fighters,
that's
but
just that fucking sheer grit.
Ribas. It just turns out that Ribas is a young talent.
Yeah.
She's usually a submission artist.
Yeah.
Rodriguez was she just overwhelmed her, especially with pace, really crisp boxing.
Yeah.
And I felt like she did really well with distance control as well. She did very, very well with distance control, I believe.
She had a phenomenal ground game. I think she took Rodriguez down, and then she was like pounding on her and all that. She put in
the first round went to Ribas for sure.
Yeah, she was putting on some really, really good shots. She had the front. She was in her guard, and she was so relaxed. And Rodriguez was just trying to grab her wrists so she can control her hands.
She was trying to go for set up a triangle.
Yeah,
but it wasn't really working, and Ribas never really passed full guard.
No.
She just stayed in full guard and just started raining down punches.
I feel like because if she was kind of just waiting for Rodriguez to compromise, and then she would have just countered and pounded on her, really. And that's kind of what Amanda was doing. She was just getting a lot of good strikes. I just don't... for now, I mean, it just puts Rodriguez up a little bit more in the strawweight division. I mean, the strawweight, it's nice to see the women's divisions are starting to grow and flourish just a little bit more. I hope that's one of my things I wish for in 2021. The women's division gets more stars.
Yeah,
gets a little bit more talent. That's the talent pool expands a little bit.
Gets a little bit more attention and gains a little bit more talented fighters because, the female divisions haven't been around as long as the males. There's... you press one of the buttons. That's all good. It shouldn't matter. I haven't fixed the buttons yet. I still got to do that. But there's not as many I think there's about 150 female fighters on the roster. There's about 800.
Yeah, man.
The UFC has employed about 800 male UFC fighters, and they've employed about 100 to 150 female fighters. There's definitely a difference when the males have an 8 times greater sample size to pull apart, some really talented fights. I would like to see them maybe employ a little bit more just more female fighters. Like,
Yeah. Well, why is it that we want more female fighters? That's the big question I want to ask.
the higher the sample size, the higher level of talent
Yeah.
you can pick from. And I feel like there's not enough. The only issue is it's quite easy to pick someone off the street and ask if they've had martial art experience, or they've been a boxer, or they've been a kickboxer, or they've done some jiu-jitsu in their life. Females is a much lower level, and it seems to be, maybe there's a bit of stigma with females doing combat sports and things like that. I don't know, but it's a lot less unlikely if you were to talk to someone that they were a female MMA fighter.
Yeah.
It's not usually seen. It's usually seen as more of a male sport. I would just like if it transitions a little bit more like that.
Yeah.
It's just, it hasn't been around long enough.
Yeah, it just hasn't been around long enough. I feel like it can start to grow. I mean, if we can start to get some... I'm not saying... Here's the thing I don't want. Them just letting him into UFC fighters because for the sake they just want more UFC female fighters.
Yeah, not quotas.
I want that fucking standard, all right? I want them to find a Weili Zhangs. I want some more Joanna Jędrzejczyk,
Amanda Nunes,
Tina Shevchenko. You know, go around looking for Russia. You need to go to the deep dark depths of those caves.
You go to Russia and Poland and just find the scrappers.
Yeah, find the scrappers in the underground clubs. You know what I mean? They're out there. They're out there. You just got to keep finding them, and we just got to keep trying to promote the women's division as well, because if there was an argument for the top 3 or top 5 fights of 2020, you know, you'd be a fool if you didn't mention Weili Zhang versus Joanna Jędrzejczyk.
Exactly.